Good morning. We are in the rather spectacular Els Ports de Becete mountain range. And we are on the trail of the Wolf of the Maestrazgo. Just look at this place though. I've only just started. I started in a lovely little town called Valdorobres, just a few kilometres behind me. But because we're going to finish there, I thought I'd show you that later. And I wasn't really aware of this absolutely fabulous gorge that's just occurred. And on the far side, where that wall is, that is it's an aqueduct that you can walk along, and I've seen loads of people walking along it already. It's a mixed bag today of road and gravel, and I'm not entirely sure of the route. You can't actually find it on Garmin Connect because nobody's done it before. Roads to start off with though, it should be nice and easy to start off with. Let's hope we don't get too lost. Anyway, let's get going. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I don't mean that as a pun. Look at that. Fantastic. It is actually today Good Friday, so it's going to be really busy. The roads getting here were, well, it's like a racetrack. Absolute idiots driving, just desperate to overtake for no particular reason. But we're heading off into these Ports Mountains, and they really are steeped in history. So we've got a lot to talk about today, but it's also going to be absolutely stunningly beautiful. Becete is also famous, or used to be famous, for its paper industry. So there's lots and lots of paper mills. But as you can see from this absolutely beautiful example, a lot of them are now defunct. I think all of them are defunct. It seems such a shame. That looks like a lovely place to stop. Wait. Oh, how lovely is this? Going over that. Oh look, it's a beautiful old bridge. Oh, we're gonna have to go and look at the beautiful bridge. Can't let beautiful bridges go unlooked at. Let's have a proper look. Ah, it's lovely. Look where I am. And it's no less lovely in this direction. You can see the aqueduct well enough now. And this is an old hydro station. I don't know why it's not in use anymore, but it isn't. Probably because there's hardly any water most of the time. But it's been such a rainy March for us, wettest since 1964, that there's loads of water everywhere, which is a good job because we're going to be seeing quite a lot of water today. Got some incredibly old stuff like this chapel, which is 13th century I believe, and you can't come to Becete without, well, tourists, but also looking at the river. The view of the river here is Easter is much bigger in Spain than it is certainly in Britain. It is the big holiday. That's Portal. There's a ford, you've got to go through it really. Only I don't want to go up there, so we'll be doing it twice. Now this is the Mataranya River, and today, as with every other sunny day of the year now, there are going to be people using this as a beach and going for a little swim where that waterfall is, because it's a lovely deep pool, about 8 or 10 feet deep. And in the middle of summer when it's roasting hot, that is the place to be. Beisete, Beisete. So good you say it twice. It's another mill. Better show you this side too. Absolutely genuine clear water. So if you can see in the distance there, look at all the camper vans. I'm pretty surprised just how many people are here. Oh, cute kittens. Onward and, sadly, very much upward. There's a horrible climb now. In fact, there's loads of climbing today. So this is a 3-kilometre climb. I think it's averaged about 5.5. It's currently 7.5. I always hate climbs nearer the beginning of a ride, before you've really had a chance to get going, get some blood in your legs. It's lovely seeing all these spring flowers out. Got thyme and calamint, euphorbias, all sorts of stuff in there. It smells pretty good too. Oh, I wouldn't wait back there, mate. It took me ages. I decided today I was going to be quite bolshy when it came to cars, because it's Good Friday. Everyone here is a tourist. Gracias. And so no one's on their way to work. Normally I defer to cars, not least because they're large and can kill me. But you know, I'm just out on a ride. I'm not trying to get to work. They might be, and there's never any real issue with road rage against cyclists out here anyway. But today I thought no, they can wait. So I'll be occupying the middle of the road, and they can go round when they can. Bayek, I am toast already. I haven't even started talking about the reason why we're in the ports and how it is steeped in history. I will, don't you worry. I've got a feeling things are going to get a bit silly today with people. So, yeah, mate, you really need to get over. Scratch his nice car. Oh. Hola, buen día. Whoa. Hello. Got localised flooding. Don't think he needs to snorkel. I'm going to get a wet bum after this. It's the problem with these seats with the cutouts. Go through a puddle. Wet cleft. This is the Pena reservoir. Here. Oh, beautiful mountains, beautiful. We're going about 3/4 of the way around the reservoir. I've never been out here before, just in case you're wondering. It's a rather lovely spot, and because of that, it's very, very popular with tourists. On a day like today, beautiful, glorious Good Friday, is going to be extremely busy. Wow, we're out here. This is incredible. You know, we never see cars, never ever. So what the ports are, they're a haven for outcasts. I don't know if they still are. They were. They've always been a haven for outcasts, and those outcasts are often marginalised by society, or in fact just plain criminals. It was a place for robbers and thieves, and then when the Romans arrived, people who didn't want to be subjugated by the Romans fled into the Ports Mountains. Later, after the Reconquista and the Moors were thrown out of Spain, lots of Moors came into the Ports Mountains to hide out. Look at this. Absolutely blooming gorgeous. Wow. And then, so, this is about the 6th time I've tried to explain things. Probably the most important of the outcasts that ended up in the Ports Mountains were the survivors of the Spanish Civil War. And by survivors I mean the Republican soldiers, most of whom fled across the French border when Franco won, and were immediately interred by the French in a whole load of concentration camps. And they were kept in terrible conditions because they just sort of appeared out of nowhere. It's about 200,000 Spaniards were incarcerated just on beaches and such over the French border. So when World War II started, this is after the Germans had invaded and the puppet Vichy government was managing the southern parts of France on behalf of the Germans. So the Vichy government suddenly realised that they had this enormous workforce incarcerated down on the south coast. And so what they did is that they gave the workers passes, so they were allowed out of their concentration camp and could move to the north to work in factories, forced labour. So what did these combat hardened soldiers do when they were released? Did they, cap in hand, wander up to the north to go into forced labour for the Nazis? Surprise, surprise, no they didn't, and they formed the Maquis, the bulk, the biggest force of the French resistance in the war. There were roughly 10,000 Spanish soldiers fighting for the Maquis. Hola. Nice little one. Oi, oi. Had to be, didn't it? There had to be a cracking view on the other side of the tunnel. Apparently, that was the Wolf's Pass that we just went through. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because this whole video is about the wolf. I need to get somewhere static to tell you about that person. Oh, another bridge, another arm of the reservoir. This isn't the main part of the ride, by the way. This is just a nice little thing I was doing just to get warmed up. Now, not all of the Republican troops fled to France. Some stayed behind, and they formed their own guerrilla bands. And one of those bands was in the Ports Mountains. Yes, it's us. This is Cami de les Olles. Now this is essentially a shortcut, only it's not very short. But I thought gravel tyres, gravel road. Oh, it's now Cami de la Picosa. Hope you haven't gone wrong. There's a dirty great gorge on my right. Ah, it's the Cami de las Olles again. Rather nice. See, this is the guardrail. I imagine the water took that out and the river's higher. This is beautiful. Right along the side of this cracking little stream. Making beautiful noises. Unlike my bike, which is making rubby noises. So it does make me wonder if I'm on the wrong road. There were 5 to choose from back at that little stream. 5. I went for the biggest. But I've got all day. So if I go in the wrong direction, I've got lots of drinks. I've got a song in my heart. So I don't really care. Definitely on a different road from the one I planned, but it is a lovely one. It's just a bit steep. It's 12.3 now. This is the hardest riding I've done in a long time. Pretty awful concrete too, look at that, horrible. Looks as though we're about to rejoin the road. Now that was 12 very hard kilometres. Very beautiful. I don't know if you can see, but loads and loads of the pines on that hillside are dead. That's how drought stricken it's been. Well, I had a bit of a crisis there. That was the closest I've come on any of these rides. Just giving up. I really wanted to give up then. I was going up the start of this road and it was yet more too steep, just too steep. And I thought, no, I'm just going to go home. There's no point. I've got some good footage already. Let's just go home. And then I saw on the sign that it's only 5.5 kilometres of this hill to go. And I thought, I can't do it. I'm just going to have to push on. And I pushed on another 100 metres and it turned into a descent, which I've just started. Well, that was bad. It was really bad. My heart rate was going way too high. And now it won't because it's downhill. I know there's more uphills to come, but I'll be prepared by the time I get there. Anyway, crisis over. Dusty as well. Got a car coming. I'm wondering if that is the view. To tell you this week's new feature. Tales from the trail. I thought every week there's always something. There's some legend or some story, and I thought let's just make a feature of it. So it's the tale from the trail, and it's about the maquis. Now I've talked all about the maquis already, and I've mentioned that some of the maquis actually held out in these mountains, and they held out in these mountains from the 1930s until the 1960s before the last one was finally captured. And the last one to be captured was La Pastora, the shepherdess, and she was the most notorious of all of the maquis. She was born Teresa Pla Messeguer in 1917, but when she was born, it wasn't certain if she was a boy or a girl, and because of her deformity down there, her parents decided that they were going to register her as a woman so that she wouldn't get conscripted into the army, which was going on at the time, and she would have had a horrendous life in the army. So she was raised as a girl. She was quite boyish in features, and as she aged she became more and more boyish, and so she was taunted and bullied by her own family as well as by others in the town where she was born. Small village, sorry. So by the time she got round to 11 and her father died, it was decided that the best thing for her to do would be to take care of the family's flocks and live by herself up in these mountains from the age of 11. So she was by herself from the age of 11. She still got bullied by the other shepherds and by the neighbours. A horrendous life. And as she went into puberty, she became even more manly. And it got to the stage where she decided enough was enough. And she decided that she wasn't going to be bullied anymore. And by this time, he was a great hulking man, frankly. And so he started beating the crap out of his tormentors, tormented him for so many years. And he, let's call him a he, got quite a fierce reputation, still wearing dresses, still in her mind knew she was a man, but it was really difficult to break all of those years and years of being a woman. And the civil war came and went, and Franco took over, and Franco's most feared and hated police force, the Guardia Civil, were actually the military police. They discovered her one day up in the mountains, and they couldn't make out what she was, and they were horrible to her. They tormented her, they forced her to strip, and let's leave it at that. Things didn't go well for her. Overnight she escaped, and she made her way through the mountains to where the maquis were hiding out, and she became one of them. And with her arrival, they encouraged her to become what she was and to become a man, and she changed her name with them to Floricio. And the maquis welcomed him with open arms because he was fierce because of the fighting he'd been doing for himself, and also because he'd learnt how to survive in the mountains by himself, and he knew them like the back of his hand, and he became the maquis's guide. And they carried the war to Franco's troops, and they conducted guerrilla warfare against them for several years, but slowly but surely their numbers dwindled until the only two left, Floricio and the commandant, and they carried on, or rather they carried on surviving. By this stage there was no sabotage going on. They changed to crime. They kidnapped people, they did robberies in order to survive, and until the commandant was killed as well. It didn't put off Floricio. Floricio is still being called La Pastora by the Franco press, but just about every murder, every robbery was attributed to him. And it was really, really, really bad. By the time that he was eventually caught, he'd actually escaped as far as Andorra and become a smuggler. But when fellow smugglers found out who he was, they dobbed him in, and he was arrested. And because of what was on his birth certificate, he was sent to a woman's prison, where he was examined, and he was then sent to a man's prison. He was accused of and got sentenced for the murder of 21 civil guard, 9 mayors and a hermit. But he hadn't killed anyone. And the Guardia Civil knew it because they were the ones who'd killed some of these people and then attributed it to him. He was still in prison in 1987 for crimes that he hadn't committed, when he was eventually released. When he was released, he changed his name officially and changed his sex officially, and went back to the village where he was born, where he was greeted with respect and admiration, and he lived out his life there, and he died in 2004. I've just reached the top of yet another horrible climb, and now straight into a descent. It's just been up and down. There's some spectacular views that I can't quite show you. There's just too many trees. It's such a shame. For this, Dom, don't you? Well, we're here. Loads of people. Yeah, look at that, eh? That's something else, isn't it? Hold on, that's not it. It's round here. Still can't see it. Popular. It's not too deep. Gracias. Well, we've now seen people on one of my rides. They do exist. Spain is not completely devoid of people. There's actually more there than I expected. And there was certainly more just standing in the middle of the fucking road than I expected. You see them just staring at me. I mean, yes, I am a sight to behold. However, that is still officially a road. He could move to one side gently. He'll be vilified in video. That, by the way, was the Riu Tastavines. Tastavines. I'll put it up on the... It's wine tasting. It's the wine tasting river. I mean, wow. I didn't check. I didn't actually see if it did actually taste like wine. Or even better, it actually is wine. That would have been amazing. I just would have ended my days underneath the waterfall. Mouth open. I wonder where we are. I've been rather enamoured of this route all day. Road services less so, but can't have everything. Road. Well, I never did. That is weird. Truly, where are we now? He's going a bit quicker than I will be. New tarmac. Riu Tastavines. us back in Valderobres. Now, I've managed to go the entire film without actually mentioning that La Pastora had another nickname, which was the Wolf of Maestrazgo. So that's why this film is called The Wolf of Maestrazgo, or On the Trail of. Anyway, that's it for this week. So until I see you on the next one, thanks for watching.